Hello everyone, this is Mumbo and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. It is episode 131 and welcome back to me. Yes, that is right, ladies and gentlemen, I have now finally returned from Australia. I was out there for 2 weeks, or around about 10 days actually in Australia, but of course it takes 25 hours to fly out there, so it worked out to about 2 weeks there. But I have had an awesome time. It's been awesome. Can you tell that I'm a little bit more tanned, a little bit more sunburned? I mean, I have to say, in person, I am very brown indeed, but unfortunately, I'm already starting to peel. So if you can hear some rustling going on in this video, don't worry, that's just all of my skin flaking off. There's absolutely nothing to worry about. It's only skin coming off my body where it shouldn't be. But anyway, yes, I am back from Australia, and it has been just a fantastic holiday. It seriously has been awesome. I've absolutely loved it. Australia is an epic country. For those of you who watched the video that I hopefully posted yesterday, I hope I managed to post that yesterday, of my Australia journey, just like a brief little thing summarizing what I got up to, you will see that it was very action-packed. Like, seriously, a ton of stuff went on. I went canyoning, I did kayaking, I did rock climbing, bouldering, just loads of crazy bits and pieces that I would never do in the UK. And those are definitely things that I'm going to start doing in the UK because we have the facilities. I just never really thought about doing them, and something about the Australia attitude and I guess the weather just makes you want to do these things, and you find out that actually they're really quite enjoyable. So I have loved my trip. It's been awesome. But I am sort of glad to be home a little bit. You know how it is, you return from a holiday, and it's nice to get back into the swing of things, especially when your job is making Minecraft videos. That's such a fun job. Like, seriously a fun job. And what on earth? Okay, my silo has broken. That's a bit of a shame. We'll get back to that in a couple seconds. I thought someone had stolen all my sugarcane, but no, it looks like that redstone is broken. But anyway, as I say, absolutely loving getting back into the swing of things here, and hopefully I can continue to produce awesome content for you guys post-Australia. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be doing a bunch of really awesome things, and we're actually going to be visiting a project that I sort of, I guess, did in the previous season of Hermitcraft. It's something that popped into my head when I did the world tour of the previous season of Hermitcraft in the previous episode of Hermitcraft. Lots of previously there. I hope you managed to follow along. But we're going to be starting work on an industrial tree farm. Now, this is essentially just a big bone mealing area. It's a big area where I can plant down trees, they can grow, and then I can take them out, and then their saplings are picked up by minecarts and things. And it was a really fun project, and that video actually is one of the most viewed Hermitcraft episodes behind the automatic mining system. So that's just a fun little bit of mumbo jumbo trivia there. But I think where we're going to build it is probably up and about here, maybe out the front, maybe up on top of this hill right here. I'm basically going to have to take a look around because obviously it's been a little while since I've been on the Hermitcraft server. I can't quite remember all of the nooks and crannies and things like that. So I guess I'm going to have to poke around and see what sort of space is available so that we can build this. Now, before I start recording this clip, I'm going to give you a little bit too much information right here. My stomach feels very strange right now, filled with gas, and occasionally that gas is coming up. And if you hear me pause, then that's just me suppressing a burp. So there we go, watch out for that one. But anyway, as you can see in front of me, I've got myself a bit of a prototype for the industrial tree farm. Basically, I've got these 4 pieces of dirt here, and of course, my actual build is going to be considerably bigger than this. This is just like a prototype. And then I have got this minecart hopper going back and forth, as well as these hoppers right here. Now, just imagine that this entire space here between these dirt blocks is filled with minecarts going back and forth like this. So they're all going back and forth, and there are loads and loads of these dirt blocks traveling off into the distance, and these hopper minecarts here are going to be picking up saplings. Now, the reason that we have these hoppers facing across is because, of course, we can't have hopper minecarts going back and forth from one end to the other with all of the dirt blocks in the way, so we need these hoppers here to transfer saplings away from this area right here into the hopper minecarts so that they can be taken away into storage systems on either end or on one of the ends so that we can come into the tree farm, pick up our saplings, then start placing them down. That's essentially how this design is going to be working. It's really quite simple, and I know this is a very basic prototype, but now let's start constructing it on the Hermitcraft server. So, as previously mentioned, I think I'm going to be building most of this automatic tree farm up at the top here. Now, there is quite a lot of space up here, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop some of it down into this cliffside here. So we're going to carve out some of this, and then the rest of it is going to be a platform, and we're going to have to do some higgledy-piggledy building and some constructing and things to make all of this look good. But in the end, it should look absolutely fantastic. At least in my opinion, these sorts of builds always look good to me. So I'm very excited to get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start mining this thing out, and we'll see how it looks like once it's done. Okay, so I've cleared out the area. As you can see, we've got a large amount of dirt missing now. And now I'm working on planning this thing out. Now that's going to be not complicated. It's definitely not a complicated thing to do, but it just depends on how big I want this automatic tree farm to be. So as you can see, each one of these little blocks here represents where one of our trees are going to be going. And I've got 1, 2, 3 regular trees. Then on the end, I've got a space for a bigger tree. So these are like the 2x2 ones, the jungle trees or the large spruce trees and that sort of thing. And they are spaced slightly differently, so we've got, I think, 9 blocks between these because they're 2x2. But that seems like a pretty sensible way of doing things. I thought that was good. Obviously, it's not the most space efficient thing in the world, but it definitely feels like it's going to work. So now all I've got to do is I've got to plan out where all of these blocks are going to be going, whilst trying to fend off all of these mobs. I mean, this area really needs lighting up, but we're going to try to do our best. So 1, 2, 3... 4 and then 5, and that means that we place another block right there. Okay, so that's that one, and I'm thinking maybe 2 or 3 more. 2 or 3 more than that, and that will be like the right size for this tree farm. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, which means that the other one's going to be going on the inside of this tree right here. Then we can take out the rest of those, and I mean, that's pretty big already, but it needs to be slightly bigger. It needs to be one bigger than that, because this one here is going to go there. So that means that, yeah, we need one bigger than that. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then that one there. Okay, so that is going to be the size of our industrial tree farm. As you can see, this is no small build. This is actually a relatively big area that we're creating here. So now what I've got to do is place in all of the blocks for all of the other ones, and then place in the platform itself. Okay, bit of a progress update for you guys. As you can see, I've now cleared out an extra layer underneath all of these blocks. I've also mapped out where all of the blocks are going to be going, and I've cleared out all of the trees that are inside this area here, which seems a little bit counterproductive, clearing out trees to create a tree farm, but there we go. That's basically what we've done. So now we are ready to place in the actual platform itself. This is where the platform is going to be going, where all of our minecarts are going to be on top of. And I've been scratching my head, thinking, what am I actually going to build this platform out of? Because, of course, you know, it's going to have all of the minecart rails on it. It doesn't have to look particularly pretty. Of course, this is like an industrial build, so they don't have to look really gorgeous. But I do want to build it out of something nice. And I've come to a very, very predictable conclusion. I'm sure all of you can guess what I'm going to be building this thing out of. In fact, let me know down in the comments section what you think I'm going to be building the platform out of. I'll give you a couple seconds here, okay? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go, your comment should be down. If you said iron blocks, then you are incorrect. If you said compressed ice, then you are incorrect. If you said diamonds, then you're incorrect. Going to be building it out of stone slabs, aren't I? I mean, it seems like the best, most logical option. I get twice as much for my money. That's definitely a good way of doing things. And also, it fits both this star right here and this star right here. And I don't know how I'm going to be decorating this yet. So that seemed like a really good option. So there we go, a big, boring, grey square. Just what we need. I mean, this is perfect. This is one of my favourite builds. Yeah, it's pretty boring right now. In fact, it's actually acting as a very big spawning platform right now, which is just one of those extra functions. Are there any bits and pieces down here? There's a few spiders. Well, one spider. And that's good. Yeah, when I came up here earlier, it was like another mob spawner. Just mobs spewed out from this thing, which was a bit of a surprise. But yeah, as you can see, it is done, and it looks as boring as I expected, which is fine. That's absolutely fine. That's sort of what I need. But one thing that I am thinking is, how on earth am I going to light this thing up? I have no idea. Like, I seriously have absolutely no clue how I'm going to light this little fella up, because I just don't know. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know how I'm actually going to do it. Actually, I've had an idea. I could put glowstone underneath the hoppers. Yeah, that seems like the best option. So glowstone will go underneath the hoppers, maybe 1, 2, 3 like that, because the hoppers are going to be going in this sort of direction here. And that will probably do a decent job at lighting this entire thing up, which means that we're probably going to have to pop off to the witch farm. But before we do that, we should probably see what orientation do the minecart rails take. I'm really hoping... I wasn't hoping that they did that particularly. Okay. That's a positive... I mean, by the look of things, they can go both ways. I don't know if I'm going crazy here, but I swear maybe powered rails are slightly different to regular rails, because I swear there's a certain orientation that powered rails will always try their best to go. Maybe I'm going crazy. I really don't know. But I guess I'm going to have to A, gather up some glowstone, and B, gather up some powered rails, because we need both of those. For the first time in ages, I am using the item transportation system. There we go. Those items should be making their way down into the sorting system. For anyone who missed that project, I did it a little while ago. In fact, it was ages ago now, in fact. And it was a massive project. But I basically linked up the entirety of my base so that I can send items from my storage system up to that chest. I can also send items from that chest down into my storage system. Here's hoping that it still works, because you never really know with that sort of thing. Step 1, acquiring glowstone. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. I would say that should be enough. 4 stacks of glowstone. Now we just need a ton of gold, and that could be a tiny bit more complicated to get. I also definitely feel like I should do some AFKing over here at the witch farm, so I will probably do that towards the end of today's episode if I remember, because I really love doing AFKing. AFKing is always exciting because you get to come back to the computer and you get to check out how many resources you've got, and often you're very pleasantly surprised indeed. At least I am. So, I have been informed by Impulse that this is where the gold should be. Now that side is clearly rotten flesh. This side should be gold. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not seeing any, which could, like, this could seriously throw a spanner in the works, basically. If I chuck a little guy at that guy, and basically get these guys to run across, we'll see if any gold makes its way up into these chests. But I've never seen that before. Like, that's never something that's happened before. I've never noticed gold going into this chest. So, I don't know. Genuinely don't know if this is a thing or not, or if there's an alternative storage area for the gold. But I mean, that area definitely makes the most sense, and I can see a lot of hopper action going on. I don't really know what to say here. Progress update time. As you can see right here, we have covered a lot of the platform in both glowstone and also a bunch of powered rails as well. Now, I've actually managed to do this over the past day or so, I finished recording and then did a bunch of progress bits, and now I've started recording the next day, which is something that I tend to do during my Hermitcraft episodes, but I just thought I'd announce that during this one. But I have to say, it actually, it's been such a long-winded process doing all of this, because basically I AFK'd at the gold farm for absolutely ages. I stayed there for ages, and then I checked the gold chest, and it turns out there wasn't actually any gold in it, and that's because all of the item elevators weren't correctly working, so I basically had to fix all of those. Then I had to AFK a little bit more, so as you can see, I'm currently level 86, which is pretty impressive, but now I'm in the process of basically finishing everything up. So I'm chucking in all of the minecart rails here, and hopefully I should have enough gold to place it in the rest of them, but to be honest with you, I'm not necessarily convinced. Okay, so the good news is that I've now got all of the minecart rails in place. As you can see, they go right the way around, and this thing is looking ugly, which is fine. That's absolutely fine. You're not really going to be able to see this thing. But yeah, it's not the prettiest build I've ever done. But the bad news is that you see that rail over there? That rail right there, the one off to the far left, doesn't actually do anything. It's not connected. This is not connected at all. It is never going to have a hopper minecart on top of it. it's not connected, and that's simply because I have built this to the wrong sort of size for us to have like a constant loop. It just wouldn't quite work, so unfortunately that means that we've got like a dummy rail right there, which is a bit pointless, but you know, we've got it there for looks. So there we go, that is pretty much everything completed on the minecart front. Now what we have to do is actually place down a hopper minecart and also place all of the hoppers that are going to run into the side of the minecart, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So I'm going to gather up some resources. I'm probably going to have to do a little bit of tree farming to gather up these hoppers, but then we should be pretty much good to go. I don't know if I should be afraid or not, but I have just seen... Hello, Mr. Exumavoid. It looks like he's come by to do something, but I can't tell what that thing might be. Well, it's nice to have a visitor anyway. Okay, so I've just about managed to craft 3 stacks of hoppers, or near enough 3 stacks of hoppers, which is definitely going to be more than enough to cover these little spaces. And also, as you can see, I've now sent the hopper minecart on this little journey, or should I say, extremely long journey, because this loop is pretty ridiculous. But as long as this minecart does the entire thing in under 5 minutes, then we're not going to have any despawning problems, and there shouldn't be too many saplings and things for it to pick up, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue. But anyway, next up, what we've got to do is we're going to be chucking in all of the hoppers here, which they're going to be facing in all sorts of directions, and I clearly am struggling to place them down. But yeah, our hoppers are going to be going across like this, and they are going to be in the gaps between all of these dirt blocks here. So our very ugly build is about to get 10 times uglier, but that's absolutely fine, because this entire thing is designed to be pretty much a functional build, and nothing too beautiful. Whoa! Whoa! That's hilarious. Right, okay. As you guys saw there, basically Exuma asked me, what do I think? What do I think of the new Top Gear host? And obviously that was a ploy for him to make me stop. Okay, so I was meant to stop and answer the question, which I did do, as you could say. Who is it? Must have missed the news. And he blasted me with anvils. That was brilliant. He didn't quite manage to kill me, I have to say, but that was absolutely hilarious. And it happened just as I finished recording. That's a shame. But anyway, there we go. So it looks like Exumavoid has tried to destroy me. Has tried to destroy me with anvils. But nice try, mate. That was really quite special. And now, by the look of things, it's taken a bit of a turn for the worse there for Exuma, who has just managed to drop an anvil on himself, which is that's an interesting one there. So we're going to pick up his things, and I'm going to chuck them down in the chest. But I don't know how he's managed to do that. Maybe he chucked down an anvil, then fell past it, and it landed on top of him. But that's pretty interesting. I didn't even know you could do that. So there we go. We're going to chuck his stuff into a chest now. We're going to be a nice, friendly neighbour here, and sort him out. But that has been an unexpected surprise, I must admit. Always good fun playing on our server. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are almost done. Just the final few hoppers now. I've got 12 left, so I really do hope I crafted enough. Yeah, it looks like we're going to be able to do this one. So that is that. 6 left, and there we go. So I managed to craft an almost perfect number of hoppers. And as you can see, this is our beautiful, beautiful, beautiful build. I mean, seriously, this thing is gorgeous. Look at this thing. Oh, absolutely just delicious looking, really. And our hopper minecart has in fact stopped because Exumavoid has been bashing up all of my minecart rails with his anvils. So we'll quickly fix all of those. And it does appear that we have like quite a few mobs nearby. Please don't blow up my new build. Yep, okay, we fixed that one. Right, do we have any more minecart rails missing? No, but our hopper minecart is also over there. That's good. Alright, and it is in fact picking up items. So if we were to throw in some items into these hoppers or something like that, then that hopper minecart would pick it up. So we are done in terms of the actual collection system. Now this has basically been a big episode of me working out what I'm doing, working out how big I want this build to be, and placing in the frameworks for the build. The next episode of Hermitcraft is going to be the fun stuff. The decorating, placing in all of the redstone and things like that is going to be powering this, and also doing all of the item collection systems and things like that, because so far all I've done is created a big, ugly, slabby, redstone hoppery, redstone minecart rail type mess. And I know that's not particularly interesting or pretty, but it had to be done. So this is the start of the industrial tree farm it's a good beginning, and I hope that you enjoy the look of this project, and I can't wait to get it done, because this is going to be super handy to have a centralized place to actually plant other trees other than oak. Of course, that tree farm that I've got over there is an oak tree farm. This one is going to work for all of the different types of trees, including the bigger ones, which is something that I really needed. But unfortunately, that is all I've got time for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to hit that like button, and if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later.